For those who don't know me, I'm Carrie. I'm the BSC assistant here. And let's see, just a couple of things. Can we all move towards the altar for picture taking tonight? Thank you everyone for your cooperation with taking the picture really fast. And then, so without further ado, here's Reverend Kiyohara and day 4.
はい。はい。So let's begin with 合唱. If you can please put your palms together. ナモアミダ仏。ナモアミダ仏。ナモアミダ仏。ナマンダ仏。ナマンダ仏。ナマンダ仏。ナマンダ仏。ナマンダ仏。はい。Thank you very much for coming tonight. I think なんか more people here tonight than yesterday. This is kind of my impression. But, so this is day 4. Tomorrow is the last day. Good for me and good for you. And yeah, so but I told some people, but the audience here is very easy to talk to. You know, I'm invited to different temples, and then, as you know, each sangha, each temple audience has a different kind of atmosphere. And then some temples, my audience, sangha member, easy to talk to, and then whatever I say, kind of you know. But some temples, whatever I say, it's very hard to talk to, kind of get engaged. But this group, your group is very nice, always kind of smile and then good reaction. So as a speaker, very easy to speak to, get engaged, and then so yeah, I really appreciate because of your atmosphere, your kind of attitude or way listening to my lecture, it's a great help. So this is a kind of very good Dharma gathering. So I really appreciate your support. So anyway, as we did before, I'd like to begin answering the question, to the questions that I received yesterday. So, is there a Buddhist view regarding life purpose and the meaning of life? This is a very good question. And then this is a very important question. And then I'm sure tonight we have Bishop Matsumoto Sensei and ex-Bishop Thomas Sensei. So wonderful people here. So maybe each minister, and then I'm sure each of you have your own answer to this question. So this is more like from my personal, perspective. So, I think it's good to bring 3 treasures. Sankiemon in Japanese. これなんだこれ。そう。in Japanese 人参受け方し今すでに行く。仏法聞き方し今すでに聞く。ダララララ。Sankiemon affirmations or Sankiemon or homages. So on page 2 of this red book, you can see the hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we are hear them. If we do not gain emancipation in this present life, we may not be free from interfering in the ocean of birth and death for kalpas. Let us reverently take refuge in the 3 treasures. Which is, 3 treasures have the different versions. So this one is different from ours. I mean, the one we recite at the Berkeley Buddhist Temple. So that's why I kind of stuck some words. But anyway, I think one answer, life of purpose is maybe to encounter the Dharma or to live with the guidance of Buddha. So maybe as a Buddhist or Buddhist priest, maybe this is my answer. And then personally, I like this saying. I think this is from Cherokee, the Indian tribe, Cherokee.
Cherokee.
Yeah. And then when you were born, you cried, and then the world rejoiced. So when you came out this world, most of you kind of crying, and then born in this world. And then I hope people around you, welcome you with a smile. So you can come into this world crying, and then people around you welcome with a smile. And then when we die, we close our life. And then people around you, the world cry. And then, but you smile. You go with smile. I think this is a nice. That means you find or you encounter something brings you kind of fulfillment of your life. So maybe I think Buddha Dharma gives you a kind of guidance or maybe perspective for you to find the profundity or maybe meaning or fulfillment of your life. So, this is a kind of saying that I like. はい、次. The next question is, I said Monday to be a Buddhist is to aspire to become a Buddha. My understanding is that the title of Buddha is not self-proclaimed. Rather, it is how others consider you. I personally don't aspire to become a Buddha, but aspire to be liberated from anger, greed, and ignorance. Am I then not a Buddhist? Isn't Buddhism about the journey, not the end? This is another wonderful question. I like this. Very honest, and then this is very nice question. So I personally think it's okay you don't want to become Buddha, Buddha, because it is just a title. We label to the status free from greed, anger, and ignorance. As long as we live in this world, we have to put a name, label it. So Buddha is kind of one concept, idea, or kind of label. But the essence, what's in it, or under the label of Buddha, it is a life free from greed, anger, ignorance, which are the cause of our suffering. In that sense, to live a life free from anger, greed, ignorance means we can live without suffering, without difficulties. That is the purpose of Buddhism. So, as long as you pursue the revelation from greed, anger, ignorance, and then with the guidance of Buddha or Dharma. Maybe other religious tradition give you a guidance so that you can you'll be liberated from greed, anger, ignorance. But as long as you try to pursue that kind of revelation with the guidance of Buddha or Dharma, I think you are Buddhist. So life is journey, and I think Buddhism is a guidance telling us the destination or the end. So, I think Buddha is our kind of fellow traveler, or give us a guidance where to go, giving us a destination. So, I hope you will find a good, like a fellow traveler in your life. はい、次。何だったっけこれは。お墓の話ね。Yeah. Also, you spoke about. I kind of split the one question into two. So this is a second one. So there is a kind of another question before this. So that's why starting with also. Also, you spoke of changing religion through marriage. Is this really important? What is important is the union of the two people within the eyes of society, not necessarily the differences in religion. However, in conjunction with the issue of marriage, Christian teachings say you marry for life and then are buried in turn with your spouse. Is this true for Jōdo Shinshū? Can your Christian spouse be placed in Jōdo Shinshū Haka grave? This is another good question. Very practical question. In Japan, we call it 家の宗教. 家の宗教 means a religion of the kind of family. So ideally, it's nice for all family members follow the same practice, same religious teaching. But not necessarily all family members are the same, practicing the same religious teaching. So how about the Jōdo Shinshū Buddhism? So are we supposed to kind of, enter the same haka, grave? I don't think so. Because will our marriage relationship continue even after we attain birth in the Pure Land? So I think it's nice to put, a husband and wife put in the same, place. Maybe the assumption, kind of emotional, our assumption is, by doing so, they will be, together in Christian heaven or Pure Land, whatever. Right? That is our human assumption. But as I mentioned, like day 2, what is Buddha's perspective? What does it mean to attain wisdom? So I said insight. Wisdom is an insight to see things kind of without kind of selflessly, fairly, no kind of distinction, right? So husband, wife. So how much is the population on the world today?
7.5 billion.
7.5 billion. So maybe let's say, roughly speaking, 25 billion, yeah, is female. And then the rest of men, right? So I marry my wife among the so many ladies, right? And then in that sense, our relationship is special. Me with my wife is very special. Right? She is my special person. And then for her, I am a special person, hopefully. And then so by putting, husband, wife, putting in the same place in haka grave, and then our assumption is, our special relationship should continue even after we die. But according to our tradition, once we die, attain birth in the Pure Land, become Buddha, attain wisdom. What does it mean? There is no kind of distinction. Once we become Buddha, of course, my wife should be one of the Buddha or kind of sentient beings to be guided, right? So once we become Buddha, all beings, including our enemy, right, are special or object of compassion that I will perform as a Buddha, right? Don't you think this is really difficult, right? To see anybody, all beings, all sentient beings, equally, try to, provide a compassion. So that's why to become Buddha is really difficult. To attain wisdom, is really difficult. So because of the feature of Buddha or wisdom, so that's why to become, this question, Jōdo Shinshū, I don't think so. This is from a religious or doctrinal perspective. But at the end, I said, practically speaking, for survivors like my son, go to Ohaka Mairi, visit the gravesite. If they're, separate different places, it's not convenient for them. So practically speaking, especially survivors' convenience, it's nice to put the, husband and wife in the same place or family members at the same place. Hi. So, 次. Hi. The question is, isn't death free of all suffering? Is this a Pure Land? So, if my reading of the question correct, then I would say yes to the first question. And then maybe if I'm correct, I would say no to the second question. Yeah. So, once we die, if we can attain birth in the Pure Land, and then if we can become Buddha, so that means this is a kind of turning point where when we are liberated or released from suffering. So that's why I said yes to the first question. But the second question, what does it mean to be liberated from suffering? Why do we want to attain birth in the Pure Land? So if we want to attain birth in the Pure Land just for kind of escape or liberation from suffering, maybe I think that's a little bit wrong, because Pure Land, to attain birth Pure Land, is for me to become Buddha. That is the main purpose. And then as a result, kind of sub-product, we are liberated from suffering. Of course, this is a kind of back and front side of one poem, but I would say main purpose of Pure Land, where Amida Buddha established, is for us to become a Buddha. That is the main purpose, significance of Pure Land. Yeah. So, and then there, we are not just enjoy our wisdom, attainment of wisdom there quietly, but we immediately return to this samsara, and then dynamically perform the compassion toward those who are still suffering. So we say going aspect and then returning aspect, right? So you'll be busy when you become Buddha. No break, right? So once you close your life, attain birth, and then boom, you have to come back, this world. And then sometimes people say there is nobody in the Pure Land, right? Because they are busy, coming back and helping and supporting, people still suffering in this samsara. This is a kind of metaphor or a kind of, example. But again, what does it mean to become a Buddha? We are not just becoming somebody else or something else. We will start a new life to give a guidance to other people. That's the meaning of becoming a Buddha. That's the meaning of attaining birth in the Pure Land. Right? You will start a new life as a Buddha to guide, give a help to other people. So that's why, in that context, what is Pure Land? We say we go to Pure Land. We attain Pure Land. So kind of sounds like a direction, right? Or destination where we will go. But if we put much emphasis on our performing compassion, that is returning aspect, so Pure Land is a kind of source from which we receive the guidance, right? So that's in that sense, Pure Land is working here and now. I don't say Pure Land is here and now. I don't say Pure Land here is here and now. But the Pure Land is working here and now. Right? Okay. So we receive the guidance from this Pure Land, realm of Nirvana, so that we can live better. Hi. So I think 2 or 3 more questions about the kind of related with death. So this is the first one. The second one is also kind of death. So is this correct? When a person closes their life, they will open their pure transformation. I think this is related to the idea of once we die, we become Buddha. And then I think came from this idea. I think, according to our teaching, again, once we end our life, that is the beginning, start of our new life as a Buddha, to give a guidance, who's still living in this world. ということは、I would say, open their pure or new kind of transformation. And then, death is not the end of everything. in that sense. Yeah? But it is a start of new life as a Buddha who compassionately gives us guidance. Yeah. So I think this is one idea or relief that we can receive or benefit that we can receive from this teaching or Pure Land Buddhism. Yeah? Because I'm sure most people get upset when you encounter the danger of death, right? I know in living in everyday life, we have ups and downs, right? So what is the most kind of upsetting thing? I think danger of your life or danger of your kind of life of your loved ones, right? So I'm, giving a lecture in Hawaii. Ne? So I got a call. My family, wife and the 3 boys, they're in Japan. Ne? Hey, Dad, my youngest one, youngest son, Hiroto, got hurt. Ne? I said, so. Ne? So what? Ne? I'm not gonna upset. Just he got fell or kind of got scar or something. Ne? But what if I got a call? Hey, Dad, the Hiroto is kind of dying. Then I will, make a flight reservation, fly back to Japan, right? So this is a very, very important, critical, or maybe very upsetting event in your life. This is because once we die, physically, we cannot see them any longer. We think we are kind of disconnected with that person, right? So that's why death is very, very big impact to our everyday life. But when we seriously listen to the Dharma, for example, like a truth of impermanence, as I mentioned a couple of times in my lecture, Jōdo Shinshū funeral service, we read White Ashes. It's a letter kind of talking about the truth of impermanence to the audience. Right? Jōdo Shinshū memorial service, funeral service, all about you. Right? We don't, Jōdo Shinshū Buddhism, we don't conduct any service for the deceased. Maybe other Buddhist schools, maybe yes, but the Jōdo Shinshū school, we never conduct a service for the deceased. All service, all messages, Dharma, is for people living in this world. Right? So that's why do we read the White Ashes, especially funeral service? I know some members complain. I heard some ministers. Some members complain. Sensei, how come you read such a terrible letter in the funeral service? I kind of understand because survivors, members losing, their loved one, they're kind of in grief and suffering. For them, for some people, maybe listening to the White Ashes may be very harmful, kind of painful. Yeah. So some people I heard complain to minister leading the White Ashes. Yeah. But again, so funeral service, memorial service is the occasion in which each of us realize the truth of impermanence, so that we are ready for my own death, ready for the death of our loved ones, right? So Renya Shonin, right? Although, White Ashes are kind of passages, but the core essence is get ready, be ready, right? For the day, right? That is the core essence of the message, very compassionate message. So that's why I would say sometimes I compare Buddhism as this picture, what's this? Emergency kit. Why do we have an emergency kit? Yeah, in case, right? So we know something will happen in the future. We don't know when, but we know there should be some kind of rainy day or kind of emergency in the future, right? So that's why we keep this. Even when, although we keep emergency bag, things happen, right? But since we have emergency kit, we can deal with the emergency situation in a better way, right? So in the same way, Buddhism, when we truly listen to the truth of impermanence, right? We cannot avoid the death. Okay? Someday we have to confront the death of myself, the death of our loved ones. But to truly listen to the truth of impermanence, then we carrying a kind of an emergency kit in our heart so that we can accept or deal with the death, the grief, sorrow of our loved one, the loss of our loved ones, or even myself. Right? So that's why I would say Buddhism is a sort of emergency kit telling us, get ready, be ready for your rainy day. So that's why we have to come to the temple and listen to the Dharma every day. We have to be ready. Yeah? Or maybe preventive care. Yeah? So nowadays, I think insurance company, spending more money for the preventive care. Right? Because preventive care, someday we will get sick. Right? But by providing preventive care, we can reduce the kind of chance or negative impact for our future health. So in the same way, in a sense, I think Buddhism is kind of preventive care. As long as we live in this samsara, saha world, we have to encounter difficulties, hardships, right? But by truly, deeply listen to the Dharma, we are receiving a preventive care in a sense from the Buddha. Right? So those are the kind of idea of Buddhism, how Buddhism, kind of giving us a guidance. Hi. The next one. Yeah. And then this is a very good question. And then many people, I'm sure, have similar question about this. Yeah. So today, I spoke of Amida's compassion enveloping all sentient beings. But does this compassion extend it to unborn fetuses, yeah? And then miscarried babies, and then aborted fetuses? And are these unborn aborted children able to go to the Pure Land? Yeah. This is very serious question, especially parents who lost their children. And then, so maybe I'm kind of questioning back. Do they go to the Pure Land? Or did they return to this world to tell us something to us? So I talked about in Pure Land is we go, but at the same time, there is a kind of source from which we receive the guidance. Right? And then how about the baby or child who die young? Yeah. I think this is one very powerful poem, waka, Japanese poem, read by Izumi Shikibu. She's a female poet in the 10th century. The 10th century, right? And then she also lost her daughter. And then because she herself experienced, she went through the grief of the loss, right? Her daughter. And then she said in Japanese, 仮に来て、親に儚き世を知れと教えて帰る子は菩薩なり。And then this is my, I think, poor English translation. A child who had provisionally came to teach her parents to know the impermanence of this world. The child was a bodhisattva. So, how should we see the event of child's death? Is it just, death of my child or something else? So to deal with or to recover, overcome hardships or suffering, sometimes, time is a kind of one solution. And then another way to deal with the suffering or grief is kind of give some meaning to the event. So here, Izumi Shikibu, she thought not just the death of her child. This was a kind of great lesson. My child was a bodhisattva. she came, to this world from the Pure Land. And then telling me, although it's a kind of bitter, tough lesson, but her daughter came to her as a bodhisattva, telling the reality of impermanence. And then the child returned to the Pure Land. This is how she interpreted the death of her daughter. And then she gave the meaning, or she realized the meaning of the death of her daughter. So, Amida Buddha's salvific work, salvific project. So, of course, one side, bringing all sentient beings to the Pure Land so that all of them become Buddha, enlightened one. So this is just a half part. This is just half part of Amida Buddha's project. And then there is another half, which is letting them to work as a Buddha, bodhisattva, to guide those still in samsara. So we have to see both sides. Pure Land Buddhism, like a Christianity, we always think going, right? But this is just a half part. More importantly, so those who go on will now start a new life as a Buddha and coming back and returning to give us a guidance. And then with this both sides, and then this is the Amida Buddha salvific project. So if we really have a deep, good understanding of this Amida Buddha's project, one side and the other side, and then you can have a kind of better understanding of the meaning, significance of Pure Land, or maybe difference from the Christian heaven. Right? はい。これでおしまいかな? はい. And then this is a kind of announcement or advertisement kind of thing. Although this is Higashi, Higashi Honganji website. They have a Shinshū Center of America. If you go to the website, 2 days ago だったかな? Yesterday だったかな? Yeah, I got a question about the books and the materials. Of course, we are Nishi Honganji, and then we have many English publications and materials. But Higashi also, they publishing many wonderful books and the materials. So, yeah, I think it's nice to work together, Nishi and Higashi, work together to spread the Shinran Shoin's teaching. So although I'm a spy of the Nishi Honganji, let me advertise the Higashi, Honganji publication website. Yeah. If you Google Shinshū Center of America, then you can find this website. はい。はい、そうですね。はい、ということです。はい、いい時間になったね。はいはい。今日何だったっけ？こっちか。はい。So, day 4ですね。Are you ready to start? 大丈夫? はい。Yes. Good. So day 4. So from day 1 we started this big eye, big eye Buddhist. As we deeply, truly listen to the Dharma, this big eye shrinks. And then small eye Buddhist, which is a kind of true Buddhist. And then, so I'm sure Buddhist teaching, Dharma, transforms us. So there's a transformation, change of eye as we deeply, truly listen to the Dharma. And then eventually, this eye, even small eye, which is a kind of symbol, representation of ego, will become extinct. So we can become Buddha. I kind of showed the BDK pin badge. There is no I in Buddha. B-U-D-D-H-A. Hi. And then how do we become a Buddha? So I introduced the example of bitter persimmon, shibugaki. And then this terrible kill can become sweet or less terrible kiyo by being exposed to those dharma sunlight, maybe change of dharma temperature, dharma humidity, dharma flow of dharma air, kind of exposed to dharma or Buddha's working, I can be changed, I can be transformed. Right? So that's why, especially Jōdo Shinshū Buddhism, we not try to change ourselves. We are transformed, changed by the power, working of Dharma or Amida Buddha. So that's why we talk about the other power. And then day 3, I talk about the Amida Buddha, who is or what is Amida Buddha. Of course, when we look at the portrait or statue, it's a human shape, golden body, Amida Buddha. But we shouldn't get stuck with that, the form or shape or appearance. Right? So I introduced the story of piece of cake brought by one of the members to show her formless appreciation, gratitude to the Center for Buddhist Education. Bishop Umes asked, "What's this?" We say, our staff say, "Oh, this is just a piece of cake." But he said, "No, this is a kind of form, manifestation of formless appreciation of members." So the point is, form and essence. Form and essence. So we are, humans easily get stuck, just the form. But the point is, we try to see, realize, or discover the essence within this form. So in the same way, when we talk about Amida Buddha, we shouldn't get stuck with just, appearance, form. What is the essence of Amida Buddha? That is most important thing. And that is Butsugan, Buddha's wish, Butsugan, or Hongan. So once we, once we truly realize, discover the true essence of Amida Buddha, and then we're not going to get stuck with the form or appearance of this Buddha. So this is Jōdo Shinshū Buddhism, Amida Buddha, from the eyes of wisdom. I suffer myself with my gas. I give trouble to other people. So that's why Buddha has an aspiration to change this guy. And then that kind of aspiration, which should be called primal vow, or maybe compassion. And then we receive Buddha's guidance, Buddha's aspiration. That is our Shinjin, which I talked yesterday. We kind of receive, accept, or appreciate Buddha's kind of aspiration. And then, those are some slides from yesterday. Shinjin has many, aspects. Shinjin has many things to say. But yesterday I just focused on some features, some important features of characters of Shinjin. And then I shared them with you. So this is one example analysis. So which type of patient are we? Maybe this side, admitting being sick. Oh, okay, doctor, I'm sick. So that's why she's kind of work together with doctor. And then because she's working, together with doctor, so she recover, and then she tried to change the way her life. And then the other patient, maybe, I don't think that bad, right? Don't listen to doctor, right? And then doesn't work with doctor for the treatment. So that's why no recovery or very slow recovery. And then this kind of patient not going to change the way of life because I don't think I'm that bad, right? That kind of attitude prevents her from changing her way of life. But this type of patient I would say like living a life of Shinji. So acknowledging how sick, how bad I am. Kind of honestly, humbly look at herself. And then admit. And then, then I need to take action. Right? Acknowledging the importance, necessity of treatment. Right? And then entrustment to doctor. So in the same way, in the light of Amida Buddha, from the eyes of Amida Buddha, now we know how bad I am, how sick I am. And then we knew the necessity of our change. We have to change. And then we start working with Amida Buddha, with entrustment. So that's why I said this is a kind of example of a life of Shinji. And then another thing is mirror. Sometimes, in the Buddhist scripture, Buddhist sutra, where the Buddha is compared to mirror. Mirror is honestly telling us how we look. Hi. So what is Shinji? There are many ways, descriptions of Shinji, but this is very traditional and then very popular to describe what a Shinji is. Shinji has a kind of two aspects. One is kind of humbly, honestly, aware who I am, the reality of my everyday life. We have to be very, very humble. And then the second one is the appreciation of Amida Buddha's kind of aspiration or compassion or guidance. So we call Nishu Jinshin two aspects of deep mind, which originally created or invented or introduced by Shandao, who is the fifth of the seven masters. So like a front and the back side of hand. Shinjin has to have those two sides. If only one side, if only this side, it's very depressive. You'll be kind of depression. But if you only have this side, it's very optimistic, kind of shallow appreciation of Amida Buddha's guidance. So Shinjin in the Jōdo Shinshū tradition has a kind of inseparable of those two kind of awareness and then appreciation. Hi. And then, Shinjin is kind of awareness or appreciation, something within ourselves, right? So to change our lives, I think there are two ways. One is kind of imposed from outside, maybe practice or discipline, precepts. Try to change ourselves from outside, right? So that's why we can change ourselves, we can change our actions, but because they are so instructed, so that's why we change our life. Nothing has changed within ourselves. We're just following the rules. Right? But the Jōdo Shinshū, I'd say, when we deeply listen to the Dharma, we are kind of convinced, right, by the teaching or guidance of Dharma. So that's why our subject, myself, has been kind of changed, transformed. Right? And then so that's why my subject, I myself, has been changed. So that's why the actions, coming from this new I is totally different. So that's why it's kind of natural or spontaneous actions, not the kind of instructed like a precept or rules. And then since, we are convinced, we truly agree, aware, the new kind of way of, new view or new perspective. So in that sense, I myself has been changed. So that's why Shinjin is diamond-like mind. It's not something additional, not the additional religious faith. I myself has been changed. So that's why nothing to lose, nothing to be broken. Right? So that's why it is called diamond-like mind. Hi. That is a kind of overview of Shinjin yesterday. And then today is Nembutsu part. But I think this is a good time to have a break. So let's have a break until 7:40. Is that okay? 7:40. 15, 18 minutes. Or 18 minutes break.